Welcome to Verdant Dreams, where forgotten things are given new life. In today's video, we're diving into stunning DIY trash garden ideas that you can try right now. Whether you have a tiny yard, a cozy patio, or just a corner of hope, this is for you. Timestamps are available, so feel free to skip to what inspires you most. And if you have questions or want to share your ideas, drop a comment below. I read every one. Now, maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind this content, there's a real story, and a real family. This isn't just a video. It's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it truly matters. When you hit subscribe, you don't just help a creator, you help a dream survive. You help a family hold on. One click at a time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for seeing me. In the soft stillness of an autumn afternoon, the garden whispers through petals and falling leaves. At the far end of the backyard, where sunlight filters through golden branches, an old wooden fence now holds a secret, a clay candy, aged by time and story. It sits on the edge, tilted just so, and from its painted lip flows a delicate stream of water. The sound is gentle, not rushing, but murmuring, like a lullaby passed down through generations. Around its base, bursts of chrysanthemums and Japanese anemones bloom in fiery shades of orange and pink, leaning playfully toward the splash below. This jug was once forgotten in the kitchen of an old farmhouse, cracked and dull. But in hands guided by imagination and care, it has become something new, something poetic. Painted in rustic orange, with swirls of teal that echo the season's twilight sky, it now lives again, as part of a living, breathing artwork. Children laugh nearby, chasing the falling leaves, while a cup of cinnamon tea steams softly on a bench nearby. Here, beauty doesn't shout, it flows, drips, and grows slowly in the corners we often overlook. This is not just DIY. It's not just trash transformed. It's memory made visible. A quiet defiance against the disposable world, a way of saying, nothing is truly wasted. In this little corner of the world, amidst falling petals and dripping water, the backyard has become a retreat. A place where old clay finds new life, and silence hums with color. There is a quiet sort of magic in the way stone meets soil, solid meeting soft, old embracing new. In a garden framed by fading summer and the hush of fall, even the most overlooked pieces of earth can become part of something beautiful. Scattered stones, once dull and lost in the mud, are now transformed. Touched by hands dipped in imagination, they wear coats of coral, moss green, and mustard yellow, hues pulled from the harvest, from the memory of sun, from children's laughter echoing in crisp September air. They trace the garden's edge like a trail of candy-colored memories, hugging the curves of marigolds and asters, each one a punctuation in the poem of blooms. The path feels whimsical, as though fairies might tiptoe past, weaving between the petals and painted stone. This isn't just about borders. It's about choosing joy, even in the smallest places. It's about honoring the rough, the chipped, the forgotten, and giving it new meaning. A mother bends to place another stone. A child beside her adds a splash of paint with a tiny brush. Nearby, the tea kettle whistles from inside, but no one moves just yet. This moment, this pause under golden trees and clear skies, feels too rich to rush. Here, art lives under your feet. Not in galleries, but in the garden. It's a canvas of earth, a living sculpture made from trash and treasure alike. And when the breeze carries the scent of autumn through the garden gate, even the painted rocks seem to breathe with color. Every old door hides a story. Some open into memories, others lean gently into gardens, inviting new life to climb their weathered frames. In the heart of a small front yard, where space is precious and charm is everything, stands a tall, forgotten door. Once the entrance to a farmhouse long gone, its wood now breathes again, not in shelter, but in beauty. Painted in a muted robin's egg blue, the door stands proud, worn with grace. It holds no knob, no lock, only climbing mums that curl lovingly around its edges. Golden blooms reach toward the top, as though drawn by the memory of hands that once turned its handle. This trellis does not command the space. It gently guides it, offering height, contrast, and an air of wonder. A lantern dangles from an old hinge, swaying lightly in the breeze. Below, marigolds dance like flickers of fire, and aster petals gather morning dew. There is something poetic in this kind of transformation. To take a thing once cast aside, cracked, chipped, forgotten, and lifted back into the light. To let it carry color once more, not as a door, but as a frame for life. Passers-by slow their steps. Some take photos. Others smile and whisper how they might try the same. In a world that moves too fast, a door like this invites us to pause. To see. To believe in second chances. And in the hush of golden hour, As sunlight kisses each petal and the wooden grain glows warm and worn, the garden becomes a sanctuary. Not only for flowers, but for dreams, the kind that bloom quietly, climbing higher with every season. As evening falls, and the last rays of sun sink behind golden treetops, the garden changes. It breathes slower. It glows warmer. Beneath a hand-built pergola, shadows stretch, and light begins to dance, not from stars, but from ancient clay vessels now filled with fire. These candy lanterns, once humble water carriers, now cradle a different kind of life. Their bellies glow with a soft amber pulse, suspended like memories above a rustic bench and a table set for two. The wind plays gently with the ropes, making the light flicker like candlelight in a dream. Painted in earthy tones of burnt sienna and olive green, each jug is a piece of art, imperfect, weathered, alive. Some are chipped. Others bear the fingerprints of long-forgotten hands. And yet, they shine. Around them, sedum and chrysanthemums bloom in quiet ceremony, their petals catching the warm light like silk. Ivy vines climb the pergola's edge, whispering stories in the breeze. It's a space for gathering, for quiet conversation, for the small sacred moments we forget to keep. This is not a pergola. This is a poem with a roof. A place where trash becomes treasure, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Where old things are not thrown away but given the gift of being seen, truly seen, under a new light. Children gaze upward in wonder. Adults pause before entering. Even the bees seem to hum softer here, as though respecting the glow. The jugs that once quenched thirst now feed the soul. And as darkness settles fully, the garden doesn't fade. It begins. The candy lanterns keep the night alive, not with brightness, but with warmth. Not with power, but with presence. In the hush of a crisp morning, the garden wakes not with noise, but with color. At the heart of a tiny front yard, nestled between walkway and porch, rises a modest island, not of water, but of stone and bloom. It's small, just a few feet across, yet it holds a whole world. The stones, chosen one by one, form a gentle circle like cupped hands holding something dear. Inside, marigolds blaze like firelight, and sedum glows in pink-tipped coral, standing proud beside the quiet grace of Japanese anemone. This island wasn't bought. It wasn't drawn by a landscape architect. It was imagined in the mind of someone who believed that even a small patch of soil could sing, and then brought to life with simple hands, a few rocks, and the whisper of fall wind. It rises just enough to be noticed. Children stop to peek inside it, drawn by the textures and colors, while neighbors slow down their steps and smile. Bees buzz lazily over the petals, and even birds pause on the edge to dip low into the bird bath beside it. What makes it magical is not its size, but its intention. In a world full of rushing, this is a quiet defiance, a space that says, "Here, we grow slowly. We bloom where we're planted." It doesn't need grand scale. It needs only love, a few stones, and flowers brave enough to bloom as the days grow shorter. As the season shifts, leaves fall around it like soft confetti. But the island remains. A tiny world of calm. A burst of color in a sea of gray pavement. A reminder that no space is too small for beauty to root and rise. There's a hush that falls when you pass through an old door. Not because of what it shuts behind, but because of what it opens toward. In the soft, amber breath of autumn, one such door stands, not inside a house, but at the heart of a garden. The white picket fence stretches wide, charming, and familiar. But at its center is a story. An upcycled door, its paint flaked with memory, repurposed as a gate. It stands slightly ajar, as if inviting you into a secret kept by the flowers. Climbing ivy curls up its sides like curious fingers, and Japanese anemones bloom boldly in the gaps, leaning in with welcome. The path beyond is simple, gravel, petals, a scatter of golden leaves, but the feeling is something deeper. Once this door guarded a home. Now it opens into wonder. A dried marigold wreath swings lightly in the breeze. On either side, sedum and asters reach out like guardians of peace. Children peek through the space between the hinges, imagining magical kingdoms inside. And adults, too, can't help but pause before stepping through. There's something profound in giving new purpose to old things. The door creaks softly, not from age, but from gratitude. In a world that moves fast, it now offers stillness. It doesn't shout. It simply holds space. And so, what was once junk now guards beauty. Not by locking it away, but by pointing the way. The door is no longer just an object, it is an experience. When twilight comes and the garden hums with quiet life, the door becomes part of the evening's breath. A threshold not of property, but of peace. A place where stories are planted with the mums, and bloom again with each new season. In a quiet corner of the backyard, where the breeze speaks in rustles and petals, something sacred blooms, not from soil alone, but from intention. There, in the center, lies a spiral of stone. Each rock placed gently, with care, forming a winding path that narrows toward the heart. It doesn't lead anywhere, and yet, it leads to everything. A soft invitation to pause, to breathe, to be. Inside the spiral, life dances. Golden marigolds stand like candle flames. Asters spill out in shades of violet and sky. Sedum glows coral and pink under the warm kiss of early autumn sun. Together, they form not just a garden bed, but a living mandala, vibrant, imperfect, whole. This spiral was not designed with rulers. It was drawn from memory, from moments when the world felt too loud. A place of focus. A space of grounding. The stones, once scattered across forgotten paths, now serve as sentinels of stillness. Children trace the curve with their fingers, walking slowly, marveling at the way the garden pulls them inward. Adults linger longer than they meant to, letting their worries slip away with every step into the spiral. It's more than decor. It's intention sculpted into earth. Around it, the garden continues, laughter, bees, warm mugs on cool afternoons. But at the center, in that spiral heart, there is calm. Not the silence of emptiness, but the stillness of being fully present. And as the season changes, the spiral remains. New petals take the place of old. Leaves gather gently on its edges. Life continues in quiet cycles, just like the path. This isn't just upcycling. It's remembering. Remembering that even stones have stories. That shape, space, and color can heal. That even in the smallest backyard, a piece of eternity can bloom. In the hush of early morning, when the light is soft and the air carries the scent of drying leaves, there is a corner on the patio that glows with quiet beauty. There, an old jug, its clay worn and cracked by time, reclines gently on a bed of gravel. Once it carried water. Now, it carries life. Succulents spill from its mouth in gentle waves, their green-blue leaves curling outward like whispers. Alongside them, sedum autumn joy glows with dusty pink tips, and marigolds flash like small suns. It's not grand. It doesn't beg for attention. But it holds it all the same. Visitors pause. Hands reach to trace the texture of the jug, to feel the coolness of the stone beneath it. There's something grounding here, a sense that nature and history have come together in perfect harmony. The jug was once forgotten in a shed, tucked behind tools and dust. But now it stands again, not upright, but in service of something new. A quiet cascade of life. A symbol that beauty does not demand perfection, only purpose. Beside it, a bench invites you to sit. A blanket rests, folded neatly. Steam curls up from a cup on the armrest. And as you sit, you see, this is no ordinary corner. This is a meditation. A small ceremony of rebirth, of reuse, of quiet art. In a world of straight lines and fast movements, this gentle curve of clay and color reminds us to breathe slower. To to find beauty in things that bend, to welcome the fall not as an end, but as a change worth celebrating. Here, on this small patio, the jug pours not water, but warmth, memory, and color into the soul of the garden. When the rain comes gently, not as a storm, but as a soft whisper on the roof, there is music in the garden. Not from chimes or wind, but from water dancing between clay. At the edge of a weathered gazebo, two old kendi hang gracefully, one above the other. Once vessels of daily life, they now carry something different, the rhythm of the rain. Connected by a rust-touched chain, they guide each drop in a journey from sky to earth. As the rain falls, the first jug catches it with a soft splash. The water overflows into the second, then trickles into a bed of stones below, where flowers nod gently in time. The sound is soothing, like the voice of the garden itself, whispering stories from seasons past. But even in dry days, they stand proudly, not as relics, but as art. Their curved forms echo the language of the land. Their surface, now painted in mossy greens and terracotta reds, mirrors the palette of falling leaves. Around them, sedum and chrysanthemums bloom in gentle witness. This rain chain isn't just function, it's poetry in motion. A design that celebrates reuse not as a compromise, but as a celebration of beauty and meaning. It reminds us that water, like life, flows best when guided with care. Guests stop to admire it. Children reach up to catch the droplets. And the gardener, sitting on a bench nearby with a warm mug, smiles at the quiet joy of it all. In this moment, the gazebo becomes more than shelter. It becomes a stage. And the rain, guided by humble clay, performs its delicate dance, a gift from the clouds to the earth, from the past to the present. Against the old wooden fence, a door stands tall, paint chipped, hinges rusted, its knob long gone. Once, it welcomed strangers into warm kitchens. Now, it welcomes flowers. Potted asters in joyful pinks and regal purples hang from its panels, each one bursting with color and life. It leans gently, unbothered by imperfection. In fact, it wears its weathering like a crown, proof that age does not dull purpose, but sharpen story. Around it, the garden hums with the gentle breath of fall. Bees still linger, grateful for the late blooms. Leaves gather like whispered applause at its feet. The door itself does not speak, but everything around it does, in color, in shape, in stillness. This isn't just decor. It's reclamation. A resurrection of meaning from the forgotten. It's art made from what once seemed useless, a kind of quiet rebellion against the throwaway world. Children pass by and say, "Why is there a door there?" And the gardener smiles. Because the real question is, why not? The door offers nothing but presence. And that is enough. It holds space. For flowers. For thoughts. For a pause in the day. A small metal sign near the top reads, "Bloom where you are planted." And the flowers obey. They spill over the edges. They reach toward the light. They bloom, not because of where they are, but because someone believed they could. And so, the door, once abandoned, becomes a frame for color, for possibility. It reminds everyone who walks by that even what's broken can hold something beautiful. In this little garden, against the weathered wood and beneath the autumn sky, even a door that no longer opens can still open hearts.